First, I'd like to thank Mr. Deb and the organizers for having me here and for asking me to chair this session. This is a session that's going to be talking about the realization of design as retail-ready packaged output. I'm going to guess that a lot of you studied marketing in school, in business school. So this is a name that you're familiar with already. E. Jerome McCarthy, 1960, he postulated a thought that you're all familiar with. It's to do with marketing, with product strategy and the 4 Ps. I think you all remember that. Product, price, promotion, and place. Over the last several years, there is a 5th P that has been added to it, and that is the P of packaging. Okay. Now, what has emerged in these recent years is that packaging has become an integral part of product strategy. You really cannot think of a product until you integrate it with the packaging. So the point of an holistic approach to packaging and specifically to retail-ready packaging is something that has become almost fundamental to packaging thinking today. Now, if you look at the universe that we call packaging today, you can look at it from 2 sides. One is the back end, which is the producer-facing side of packaging, and the front end, which is the buyer-facing side of packaging. And you will see that there are some things that the producer is concerned about. Product integrity, which includes shelf life, pilfer-proofing, anti-counterfeiting, and so on, some of which other speakers have already discussed. There's logistics, there is process control, ease of use, technology, and statutory obligations. There are some which come in between the front end and the back end. You have cost, safety, environmental impact, message structure, and so on. And then there is that which is in the front end. Product integrity, the quality, quantity, authenticity, image, attractiveness, message effectiveness, brand perception, convenience, and so on. So there are some of these issues which people are playing with constantly. And the argument here is that until you integrate everything into a whole, the picture doesn't fall in place. This is something that I think some of my panelists over here are going to be talking about with specific reference to retail-ready packaging. I guess this is something that most people over here are already familiar with, but I guess it's important to understand why retail-ready is suddenly becoming so important. And it's fundamentally driven by an economic motivation. And when large format retailers come into the picture and when they begin to take over a larger and larger part of retail industry, one of the major things that they're going to be focusing on is the cost of the human beings that they employ to restock or face up the products that they put on the shelf. And therefore, retail ready is something that is going to become increasingly in demand over the coming years in India. Because brand owners are going to be under pressure for providing retail ready solutions, whether they are large corrugated boxes with loose packages inside or a large variety of notched paper box holders and so on. The considerations are like this: from reduction of store personnel hours to the ease of handling by the people who are managing the store, from the customer experience itself to manufacturability. Somebody talked about the way perforations are dealt with on board, and you certainly don't want to have a design with a perforation where a suction cup is going to be pulling the product out. So I'm going to guess that some of these things are going to be discussed by the panelists today. I don't know if you can see that. It's a picture that I shot as I was driving on the elevated expressway in Bangalore. It's a lousy picture, I can tell you that. But what you probably can see over there is a bunch of fruit, I think Mosambi or something of that sort. And there is this guy sitting on it. Yeah, it's not very uncommon in India. You see this all the time. People carrying perishable goods with over our very bumpy roads frequently on a truck and quite often on a bullock cart with people sitting on it. This is a retail-ready solution that could completely change that. And this is something that's very close to my heart because, you're probably already familiar with this. We waste something like 35% of the food that we produce in this country. 35%. More than a third of the food that we produce never gets from the farm to the table. And if you consider the fact that potatoes are food and onions are food, you know that potatoes you don't waste 35%. So you can imagine if the average is 35, what is the proportion of tomatoes that you throw away? What is the proportion of other perishable goods that you throw away? So retail-ready packaging of this sort serves many, many purposes in India. And if you were to take a total big picture approach to this kind of packaging, and if you were to look at this carton or the case, the five-sided case that I just showed you, you will see that it does a couple of things, a number of things. One is that because it is a rigid rectangular cuboid, there is assurance of product integrity, low spoilage. It is already being used, by the way, in India, especially in the grape industry. You will see this being used in the Nashik area. So you have five-sided, it's not a six-sided box, so you use less material than you need to. It's easily erected and filled in the farm. You do not fill your product in a pack house or in the factory. You actually take this product flat on a tractor bed and erect it in the farm or in the orchard and fill it over there. So you have a product which is protected from the farm. It is very easily stackable. If you look at the detail of that product, you'll see it is stackable. It has large flat surfaces, so there's visibility. The effectiveness of the message that the designer wants to convey to his or her customer. Retail ready, suitable for direct placement on the supermarket shelf, or if you're selling in a market, it's very suitable to be put on the floor, on the side of the street if you want. And it is therefore suitable for self-service and planned and impulse buying. There is no primary packaging. You can put your food product or your fruit or vegetables straight inside it. So the housewife or the person who is buying the fruit has the option of getting her or his own packaging to put her stuff in, or not to use it at all. It is made entirely of board, so it is recyclable, one single material. There is no second material for it to become contaminated with.